Hello everyone and welcome to game 1 in a series between Roxkis Slivko versus FXO's LoWely here on Antigua Shipyard. This is going to be a Zerg versus Zerg matchup. We'll see what's going to go down here. Roxkis Slivko spawning as the teal Zerg at the 10 o'clock position. Meanwhile LoWely spawning as the yellow Zerg over here. So yellow Zerg versus teal Zerg here on Antigua Shipyard. And we'll see what the strategies will be. Now, the map is fairly large, but because I believe this is forced cross spawns, the players already know where the other player is. So based upon that, we'll see how the strategies will develop and what the overall strategies will be. You can already see that there's a slight difference in terms of the build order. LoWely opting to go for a little bit of a delayed overlord, not quite sure why, as I believe his harvester count is pretty even. No, actually LoWely slightly ahead. So we'll see what's going to go down from this. LoWely already taking a slight advantage, but now Slivko is going to get into 13/18, training up multiple drones. So a variation on the builds there. Not a complete mirror match, but overall things should be relatively the same. Slivko now sitting at 14/18. Meanwhile, LoWely opting to go for an earlier spawning pool coming into play, so the Zerglings will be out slightly faster for LoWely. He will also benefit from additional larvae, and we'll see what that actually turns into, as we don't see any spawning pool yet coming in from Slivko. Slivko looking to set up, yes, it is going to be a fast hatchery, a 15 hatchery, but then again the queen will be coming out, and the queen does increase production better than one hatchery. Overlords now making their way into different positions. It looks like LoWely wanting to make sure that nothing was going on at his natural expansion. It will take a little bit of time for the Overlord to get in position and fly overhead. And during that time, Zerglings and Queens could be trained. We are going into double, extractors. One of the extractors was cancelled to get over into 19/18 food. We should be perhaps getting up an Overlord now, as LoWely is supply blocked and will continue to be for quite some time. He's going to go down, perhaps build a hatchery off over here. Well, he's still supply blocked at 18/18, as the harvester count 16 to 15, but I believe a queen will be out for LoWely in just a moment. Now, what will LoWely do to follow this up? That is the question, as Zerglings are making their way out. Zerglings will be trained by Slivko in just a second here. Here you go, getting 2 Zerglings for that map control, getting 1 queen in the main base. Should be able to get a queen at the natural expansion as soon as it is operational, and there it comes into play once more. Now, Zerg versus Zerg, it doesn't really feel like either of these players are trying to really rush. You can see that the Zerglings are dancing around, LoWely looking to get a bit of scouting information, and we also see one spine crawler being trained on the ramp. You always have to be careful with spine crawlers and utilizing spine crawlers, as you want to make sure that they are able to take down banelings. Banelings are very effective in Zerg versus Zerg, mainly because they trade very well against Zerglings, and they also do very well trying to hit drones. We'll see what's going to be happening next, as Zerglings are going to be coming up the ramp here. We can see Zerglings are backing off, and both players just still playing it safe. LoWely opting to go for that baneling's nest a little bit earlier. Meanwhile, taking a look inside Slivko's base, he's not doing very much of anything. So both players just content to play the macro game. 22 harvesters to 22-23. Very, very even so far. And both of these players may just have mutual respect for each other and say, you know what, I'm not going to engage until I am full and ready. And that is going to be a little bit of time. 6 minutes, or almost 6 minutes into this game, not much has gone on. We can see LoWely is at 36/36 supply. Overlords now have to be careful, as queens could make the long trek and try to snipe down an Overlord. You can see Overlords positioned here and here, and really no creep tumors have been laid down by either of these two parties. We don't see a tech to tier 2 yet, and still we don't have a macro hatch, but LoWely is going into 16 Zerglings, so that is going to be a very high number. It looks like he wants to put down some pressure, as the Zerglings already have metabolic boost. Slivko could get off some really good trades here, especially with these 4 banelings. If one baneling is able to take down 5 or 6 Zerglings, that is a monstrous trade, as the banelings now have to be very, very careful. The Banelings now being careful here. One Zergling, nope, unable to get a kill off here, as we are now getting into some Banelings by LoWely. So LoWely with perhaps a slightly larger army now. And it looks like, yes, it is going to be a slightly larger army. Here we go. Banelings trying to engage. Banelings going to go ahead and try to splash their way. Able to deal a lot of damage to the Spinecrawler. But this is just more of a Baneling war than anything else. Banelings trying to perhaps suicide their way into the Spinecrawler. It doesn't look like it will go down at all. The Zerglings do find their way to take down one of those queens. But not a very good trade by LoWely, as LoWely is in a bit of trouble. Harvester count is at 28 compared to 43. Didn't deal the necessary damage. Zerglings are not effective against Spinecrawlers. That additional plus, or that base +2 armor, or that, excuse me, that base 2 armor pretty much renders those Zerglings high attack rate for low damage and pretty much nil, as we now see a 9 drone advantage for Slivko. Zergling's now going to once again try to test that front door. He cannot continue the strategy. LoWely will be forced to transition into something else, as we now see a tech to tier 2 and now 9 more drones. So LoWely really droning up now. He does have a fair number of Spinecrawlers, as Zerglings and Banelings and Roaches clear this off. Slivko going to be the first one to take up an expansion. That should give him a nice lead. Meanwhile, LoWely has over-responded with Spinecrawlers, not knowing if Slivko is going to try to do a push. It looks like he is going to do a push, so never mind that about the over-responding. He may just have enough Spinecrawlers to fend off this attack, as he should perhaps be going for a hatchery here in just a moment. Zerglings testing it. Don't see. Nice play by LoWely to hide a drone. And then a drone could try to go ahead and build a hatchery here now. Banelings now going to try to make their way in. The Zerglings are going after the Banelings one at a time. Is it going to be enough? It doesn't look like it. Oh, nope. It is enough, and each Baneling takes down one Zergling. Not a good trade at all. More Roaches now looking to come in. There are a fair number of Spinecrawlers. The Mutalisks are not going to be in anytime soon. It needs 100 seconds to build that Spire, and the Roaches may already be inside the base at that point. Zerglings and Banelings looking to do a bit of an exchange. Bad exchange by Slivko there, but Slivko does have a 40 supply advantage. How much damage can he do, as we now see a lot of Banelings morphing on the ramp? Spinecrawlers are in position. Zerglings trying to get into position over here. Roaches may just simply walk up the ramp, and that is going to be a problem, as this entire base is pretty much ripe for the taking, ripe for the picking. Drones are surrounding the Roaches here. Banelings now trying to make their way in. Who's going to come out on top? There are still 8 Roaches in this location. Banelings going to get taken down, as we are now still trying to get another Spire up. Behind us, Slivko is continuing to power drone. You can see that there are 4 Roaches here. The Roaches attempting to take down some of those Zerglings, and it looks like he will be able to take down perhaps 1 or 2 more drones, as the Harvester count 66 to 32. Spire will be completed. LoWely should be able to train up perhaps 5 to 6 Mutalisks very quickly. He has plenty of gas. He is more supply blocked on minerals, though, since he did lose 2 of his queens, being forced to, or sorry, a more cost block on minerals. Now we see what, 2 queens now being added. So the Spire could be coming in. Zerglings now trying to engage once again in the center portion of the map. The Zerglings are pushing back more of those Zerglings, and still Slivko in a very, very nice position. He is sitting on 111 supply. He has the Harvester advantage, more than double, and as long as he gets some Spore Crawlers and some Queens and play at each of these expansions, he is going to be very, very well defended. Hydralistan now also being added. Zerglings doing a good job pushing back these Zerglings here, as LoWely once again tries to test the waters. More Mutalisks are being added. Where are they being rallied to? Not 100% sure. Oh, right off over here. We could have perhaps 7 to 8 Mutalisks, but we already have a Hydralistan up. We do not have the Groove Spines, though, so the Hydralis will not have that +1 range. And we'll see what will be happening next, as LoWely finally establishes his 3rd base. 3 bases, the 3 here on Antigua Shipyard. 2 Spore Crawlers, 1 Spore Crawler here, and a Queen nearby. The Mutalisks are not going to be able to deal that much damage, just looking to pick off Overlords in the middle of the air, and it looks like they will be able to do exactly that. Overlord after Overlord is going down, And we'll see how Slivko responds. Slivko is responding with 5 more Overlords. He is also getting Infestors. The Infestors will have enough energy for a fungal growth the moment that they pop out. And if those Mutalisks get hit by a fungal growth, all of those Mutalisks will most likely then die to Hydralisks, as Hydralisks should be coming in momentarily. Level 1 weapons upgrade for the ranged attack. Roaches and Hydralisks will be much more effective. LoWely now getting back into this game, sitting at 57 drones, as we now see the Mutalisks looking to push in here. Not going to be effective at all. 2 Queens, 2 Spore Crawlers, more than enough to handle these Mutalisks, and the Mutalisks looking to just perhaps hunt for more Overlords. LoWely, even though he is currently behind, has really good map awareness. We're going to see, oh, a fungal growth hit off 3 of those Mutalisks. The Queen's able to snipe down 1 of them as the Mutalisks once again back off. We are going into 9 Hydralisks. We are getting the level 1 missile attacks. Still not getting the Groove Spines for some strange reason. That +1 range does definitely help when trying to take down Mutalisks, as your range is essentially double that of a Mutalisk. And Roaches are still continuing to wander about. Slivko getting very close to 200 food. He could easily dump it into a lot of Zerglings or perhaps Hydralisks, high DPS units with relatively low hit points. And we'll see what LoWely does to follow this up. Infestation Pit also coming in from LoWely, but LoWely in a very bad situation, as Slivko may simply be able to A-move with this army. And here you go, even escorting and bringing Queens over in this group. So that is a lot of Queens. 10 Queens in this group, and now the Roaches are just simply moving out across the map. The Queens have a lot of energy across them, so even if the Hydralisks take damage, they will end up getting healed. Going back and forth, we can see that there are a lot of Spine Crawlers coming in from LoWely, so LoWely responding with a whole bunch of Spine Crawlers and also adding in Roaches. 10 Spine Crawlers trying to be built. 1 Spine Crawler goes down already. 2, 3 Spine Crawlers going down. Queens now trying to make their way over. That is a lot of Spine Crawlers, but it doesn't look like many of them will be able to come out into play. The Infestors not even dropping Infested Terrans yet, as it looks like Slivko is just simply A-moving with this Roach Hydralisk army. The Queens finally being brought over. As soon as they are on creep, they will be able to focus down more units. Roaches charging up the ramp. A fungal growth hitting a lot of those units there. And LoWely says GG. So Slivko taking game 1 in the series with a straight macro play, getting up to 200 food, and then charging across the map with both Queens, Infestors, Roaches, Hydralisks, and Zerglings to take the victory. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed game 1. Stay tuned for game 2.